Hey everyone, welcome to the ranking. Here's my ranking of the Exorcist/Exorcism movies. Yes, The Exorcist that came out in 1873 was a phenomenon. Like, this is considered one of the scariest films of all time. When that movie came out, people were blown away. It was one of the most highest grossing horror films of all time. It's still one of the top highest grossing horror films of all time, and people were fucking, loved this film. It was nominated for Oscars. It won 2 Oscars for Best Sound and Screenplay, I think, adapted screenplay, and yeah, people just went gaga over this film, and people are passed out in theaters. This was one of the scariest things people have ever saw. I know people are numb to it now, but back in the 70s, Exorcist, that was not a picnic to go through. That must have been terrifying to watch. But yeah, they of course made sequels and prequels and sort of spin-off movies and stuff, Exorcism movies. Some are straight to DVD, but I'm only going to be counting the ones that went to theaters, all the Exorcist/Exorcism movies and stuff. There's about 8 of them. I'm going to be ranking all 8 of them from my least favorite to my favorites. Alright, let's get to it. Coming at number 8 is The Exorcist II, The Heretic. This movie is not only the worst because it's just a shitty made film, but it ruins the greatness and the scariness and the tension of the first Exorcist. Because it brings in some of the older characters, like Max von Sydow's briefly in it, even though he's dead, but they investigate the murders of him, and they have Regan, and they do these psychic connections with her. It's just so dumb. I have no idea why Linda Blair said yes to this movie. I get she was a kid, but still. She's not even that great. She gave an Oscar caliber performance in the first one, and she's just kind of there. She's not awful, but she's not great, and the direction is so bad, and the characters are just so lame, and there's zero tension and zero scares in this film, and it's absolutely ridiculous, and why would they make a sequel to The Exorcist? The Exorcist is one of the greatest horror films ever. Why would you butcher it with this ass turd of a film? Luckily, they made more, and they got better, but this one sucks. Coming in number 7 is The Last Exorcism Part 2. Oh gosh, this was so dumb. This is a sequel of The Last Exorcism, and The Last Exorcism was a pretty good film, pretty cool little found footage film. This one's just dumb. It's a lot of shaky cam, no scares whatsoever. It wasn't even deep and even profound like the first one. Oh, the last one, The Last Exorcism is what I meant, not the 73 one. The one that's a sequel to. The Last Exorcism Part 2, it just has no scares, it has no tension, there's nothing deep about it. It's just a really stupid, rah, demon possession movie with a lot of jump scares and a lot of that. It's lame, not scary, and the actress returned for this film, and she's not good, and yeah, this movie's not good. Coming in number 6 is Exorcist the Beginning. Why would they do... Oh, God. It just makes me annoyed that I'm saying this title, Exorcist the Beginning. It's about Father Merrin, and it's not played by Max von Sydow. It's played by Stellan Skarsgård, and it's basically the prequel story of his story, and I didn't want to know his story. I didn't care about his story. About Nazi Germany and... I don't care. Oh, my God. And him, battling demons and, becoming a priest and all that shit. I don't give a shit. This movie is so dumb and so unnecessary. I hated it. I couldn't stand it. And they show too much. The beauty thing about Exorcist is they didn't show a lot. Less is more, but they show everything in this movie, and it just looks absurd and so dumb, so cheesy, and just not at all scary. Stellan Skarsgård does try in this film and in the next one, but it's not a good film. Coming in number 5 is Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist. This is literally a prequel to The Exorcist. It even ends it's gonna start with The Exorcist and tie in. The ending is cool. I don't mind the ending, but the rest of this movie is it's just rehash what the prequel did, and it sucked. And again, less is more. They show way too much, and it just looks so hokey and dumb and corny, and it's not scary, and again, Stellan Skarsgård is trying, and the ending is pretty good, but the movie's just not good. It's not scary. It's not tension-filled. The score is pretty lame, and it's not a good film. and it's just not scary. Like, these are scary films. Be scary. Coming in number 4 is The Last Exorcism. This was a shock. It was shocking how good this one was. It's not amazing, but it's shockingly good. It's a pretty good found footage movie, and it's a lot about the belief structure and about, also about phonies in a way, too, and about whether you can trust someone or not. That's all I'm going to hint. I will not spoil what the overall plot and what happens at the end of this movie, but it's interesting, it's fascinating, it's a different direction to take the Exorcist story. And I really enjoyed this movie until the third act, until the ending. I didn't like the ending. I thought it was going in a very different route, because the movie builds like it's going somewhere different, but then it just ends up being a typical possession movie. And I'm like, oh, come on, that's disappointing. I thought they were going something really different with this film. But they don't, which kind of sucks. But the acting is still good. The atmosphere is still good. I like that it tackles something very different, and it tackles a lot about the belief structure and about how to trust someone and how not to trust someone. It's interesting. They tackle a lot of cool ideas, which I really admire. If it delivered what I wanted it to deliver in the third act, this would have been a fantastic film. But because the ending sucked, it just ended up being pretty good. Coming in number 3 is The Exorcism of Emily Rose. The Exorcism of Emily Rose is apparently based on a true story. Sure, why not? Let's go with that. It's directed by Scott Derrickson, which is cool. The guy who did Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a better movie, but still, this is a good movie. I like it builds on characters, builds on atmosphere. There is genuine atmosphere and tension in the film. There's a lot of flaws. The movie drags a little bit. There's scenes that are not needed. Some characters that are not needed. But I like Jennifer Carpenter. I didn't mind Tom Wilkinson and Lauren Linney. They were pretty good. Jennifer Carpenter was really good in the film, and I thought it was effective. And when the movie ended, I'm like, that was a pretty good film. I was going into it when I first saw it expecting garbage, but I got a pretty good film, and it was pretty entertaining. And it's a film that I'd probably watch every Halloween season. It's not great, but it's good. Coming in number 2 is The Exorcist III. So weird for me to say, The Exorcist III. Good movie, though. Has George C. Scott and Brad Dwarf, Chucky himself. And it's got a cool story about this killer and stuff, the Gemini killer. And then it's like, is he really a killer, or is he possessed? Someone's making him do it and everything. That's interesting and stuff. And it tackles really cool things like that. I think this movie is so good and very, very underrated. I won't spoil the ending, but the ending is really cool, and it delivered what I wanted it to deliver, unlike Last Exorcism. And I thought it was really good. And I thought George C. Scott was so good. I love him in horror films. That's why I loved him in The Changeling. That was a really good ghost story, too. He can do horror films really well, really effective. I love how he shows fear. You can really sense the fear in him, and you can sense that he doesn't know what's really going on, and when he knows what's going on, he is genuinely scared, but he will deal with the problem, because that's his job. I love George C. Scott, I love Brad Dwarf, and I love a lot of the cast in this movie. I love that it's actually genuinely creepy and unsettling. And yeah, I think it's the best Exorcist sequel, and one of the best of the franchise. But it's obviously not number 1. You all know what number 1 is. And my number 1 favorite Exorcist/Exorcism movie is the first Exorcist, obviously, 1973, directed by William Friedkin, written by, what's his name, William Peter Blatty, that's his name. He wrote the book, and he did the screenplay, he produced the film as well. This movie is intense. It's unsettling, it's super good, it's super groundbreaking, it's considered one of the greatest horror films, one of the scariest films of all time. I concur on that this movie is unsettling, it's terrifying. Frickin's direction's fantastic. Ellen Bernstein is amazing in this film. I love, what's his name? Jason Miller. I have to write his name down because he's the one actor, let's forget his name, but Jason Miller has the best arc. As the guy, what's his name? Damien, he is the best character arc in this film. And the way he goes out at the end is so fucking badass. I love how this movie ends. I love Linda Blair, again, Ellen Bernstein, Max von Sydow. Everyone gives truly great performances. And the best thing about this film is the atmosphere. It is brimming with atmosphere. It is genuinely tension-filled. It is genuinely shocking and terrifying. And you fear for this little girl, Regan. You want her to get out of this possession alive, and it is terrifying. The score is also phenomenal as well, and the sound and makeup is all brilliant. And it's one of the greatest horror films ever, and yeah, it's obviously the best. So yeah, that was my ranking of all the Exorcist/Exorcism movies, in my opinion, from my least favorite to my favorite. So in the comment section below, please tell me, give me a ranking of all these movies, but I don't think a lot of you have seen all of them, so just give me your favorite Exorcist movie, or least favorite Exorcist movie, give me thoughts and opinions, comment below, let me know, and as always for this video, please subscribe to this channel and join the dark side.